The Marvel Cinematic Universe is the biggest franchise of all time. There are films and shows people love, hate, and a little bit of both. As a Marvel fanatic, I enjoy almost all of it. Today I'm going to be ranking all 53 projects as of August 1st, 2025. I have an objective list and a subjective list. This list will be a mixture of both. There of course will be both biased and unbiased decision making. This is just my personal list. Everyone is entitled until their own. I could yap for way too long for all these shows and movies, but I'll try to keep it somewhat brief so it won't be like a 2-3 hour long video. Sit back and enjoy. Secret Invasion, not sure where to begin with this one. From the death of Maria Hill, to Gaia, to Rhodey being a Skrull, to Fury making love with the Skrull, to the writing, just everything. I tried defending the show to my friends, but it's hard to. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. I was tuning in every week. I was just beyond disappointed, especially because of the hype of the show was insane. Biggest letdown in MCU history, worst project by far. Incredible Hulk, this is for sure the weakest MCU movie. It doesn't even feel like one, probably because Universal, but still. It just feels pretty boring at times. Fight scenes are cool, but besides that, there isn't a single thing I care about in this film. I sometimes wish it didn't exist. Echo, this was a show I first enjoyed a lot, but now looking back, it's pretty mid. It's not bad, like it's not atrocious or anything, just very forgettable. Fisk and the Daredevil cameo were the only amazing things about the series. Echo should just not be a lead character. Captain Marvel is one of the most forgettable movies for me. I cannot tell you anything about the movie because it's, besides the disappointing reveal of Fury's eye scar, it's just mid and forgettable, just average. Maybe I should give it a rewatch, I don't know. I've only seen it once, to be fair. Thor: The Dark World. This is a movie I kind of appreciate more and more over time, even if it's just by a tiny bit. Everyone hates this movie, but I like it. Thor and Loki are both amazing. The only real serious issue is the super boring villain. It's so bad that it takes a lot away from the film. Rest in peace for Frigga though. Iron Man 2. Not sure what to say about this one. Whiplash is so mid. Justin Hammer is there. But Tony is great as always. Love Pepper. Rhodey is way better in this movie than the first. Natasha, my queen, makes her first appearance. It's overall just fine. Black Panther. This is one of, if not the most controversial placement on this entire list. I never understood the hype with the movie. I thought it was just okay. I never got the appeal that everyone sees. Definitely the most overrated MCU movie. Killmonger's cool though. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. This is by far the worst of the trilogy. This is falls flat compared to the other two. It's not a bad film by any means. Not at all. It just does what the others do but worse. What If has the most amazing concept but not the best execution. Some episodes are peak, some are mid. And while it's cool that it all leads up to a big finale, I kind of wish every episode was legit a standalone thing with no connection to each other. Just turn the successful ones that people love into actual series like what they're doing with Marvel Zombies. Anyway, fun series. Thor: Love and Thunder, the most overhated MCU movie, is up next. I can see the criticisms, I can see why people say it's horrible, but honestly, I don't think it's that bad. I quite enjoyed it actually. I love seeing Jane back. Thor is probably the worst he's ever been, but it's still not horrible. Captain America: Brave New World, first movie of 2025 from Marvel. Here's one of the many overhated MCU projects. I thought the film was pretty solid. I got exactly what I expected out of this movie. Normally, something is better than I thought or slightly worse, but not with this one. I was quite content with our new Cap, Falcon, and Red Hulk, and a new leader. Although I do wish we got a little bit more of Red Hulk. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp used to be my favorite of the three, but now it's at the bottom. It's not a bad movie. I actually really like Ghost, and Scott is great as always. It's just got a weaker story. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This was a show that I had a lot of fun with at the beginning because it was one of like the first few shows. Overall, it's a pretty solid show. I love Bucky and John. Sam's cool. I didn't care about the Flag Smashers though, especially Carly. And you can tell they had like rewrites or whatever. Still a good show though. Werewolf by Night. This is such a unique show. I loved it, if you could call it a show. It's such an interesting special presentation thing. I love the whole black and white filter as well. I really enjoyed Jack and Elsa, especially Elsa. Please come back. Anyway, Ted is also goated. Best monster ever. Let me explain why I can't put these presentations any higher with this next one. Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. It's hard to rank these specials, man. They aren't like full-length films, nor are they a complete series. But the reason why I have these specials above some of these movies and shows is because they don't have any actual issues. Like, I saw no flaws. Guardians during Christmas works. It's so wholesome, I damn near cried. I'm a baby. But like I said, they are specials, so it's kind of hard to place them really high. So yeah. Spider-Man: Homecoming. This placement may have you guys raise some eyebrows. This is a movie I go back and forth with. I've never loved it, but I never hated it. Kind of like it, or I don't care about it at all. I have my gripes, like him not dealing with actual consequences, and action sequences being weak, and more. But it does have great aspects, like Vulture is awesome. Ned is an amazing best friend / guy in the chair, and the vibe is nice. It's just one of the weaker Spider-Man movies overall. Ironheart is an amazing show, because it was different. It felt real, realistic, despite the AI and Iron Man suit. It felt kind of grounded in a way. She dealt with real issues. She felt human. She felt like one of us. She was literally working with criminals for money just to be able to do things that she wanted to do. Great antagonist and great protagonist. Also, Mephisto, peak. Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel was so fun. Such a breath of fresh air. Yes, Homecoming had high school and stuff, but it felt different here. I really like Kamala's friends, both Bruno and Nakia. Of course, the Khan family are incredible. They all feel like a real family, and bless Yusuf's soul. The real issue with the show is the weak-ass villain, but that's okay. Also, I don't know if it's a bad thing or a good thing, but even though I was enjoying the show, if Kamala wasn't on screen, I was kind of desperate to see her back on screen. Miss Marvel is just one of my favorite characters right now. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This movie was much higher when I first watched it. After a couple of rewatches, it's still good, just not as good as I remembered. People need to understand this wasn't the Kang. Of course, now it doesn't matter. Kang is just another villain. But I love this movie a lot. Ant-Man, movies are always fun. And the addition of a grown-up Cassie, it just adds so much. Can't wait for the future. She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. This has got to be the most overhated MCU project. I never understood the hate. Not only was it a fun watch, but the finale was legitimately peak. And Daredevil being in it, come on, easy out of 10 out of 10. Joking, obviously. Not really. Anyway, Agatha all along. This show was so much fun to watch. This almost felt like WandaVision when it came to weekly release episodes. It wasn't necessarily close, but closer to any other show. I loved the show a lot. Everything was awesome. And Lady Death, yes please, you can take me. Joking, obviously, not really. I really enjoyed Billy's character as well. The reveal was just so badass too. And all the witches were pretty great too. Loved the characters. Captain America: The Winter Soldier. Everyone's gonna kill me for this placement. Before you come at me with your torches, I love this movie. I just think it's slightly overrated. Everything works though. Of course, I do think there are some things that could be handled better, but overall, great film. And The Winter Soldier is such a badass too. The Marvels had me excited at first. I loved Kamala Khan and I loved Monica Rambeau. The only issue was Carol Danvers. But to my surprise, I actually really like Captain Marvel in this. This is the most likable she's ever been. Miss Marvel and Spectrum/Photon were also excellent. Of course, Kamala carried, my goat. Anyway, this whole movie was a blast. Only downside was a weak villain. I'm gonna give this another rewatch because I had a lot of fun. They bounce off each other very well. Great cast. Eternals. This is such a breathtaking film. For sure the most visually appealing MCU project to date. I think this movie is hated for the wrong reasons. Everything works in my opinion. Using deviants as an excuse on why the Eternals couldn't get involved in the MCU works for me. Celestials and the Eternals backstory was great. Would this have worked better as a show? For sure. Is it still an entertaining movie? Yes. Shout out to Makari, Druig, Thena, and Icarus for stealing the spotlight, by the way. Their peak. Captain America: The First Avenger. I love this movie so much. It's so different. It's the most different movie until Guardians and Fantastic Four because it takes place in the 40s, and I love that so much. Steve, Peggy, Bucky, everyone is great. The other thing I wasn't crazy about was the third act, but it was still solid. Red Skull was a good villain too, in my opinion. Black Widow. Here we have one of the many overrated MCU movies. I love Natasha, Yelena, Alexei, Melina. That fake family was great. Dreykov was a solid villain too. Taskmaster isn't what it should have been, but it was still kind of cool to see them on screen. Even if they unfortunately got removed from the world. If you know, you know. Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians 1 is the perfect example of doing everything right except for the villain. It's also the perfect example of a movie not needing the best villain to be a great movie. Normally, a villain being great is required, as it is just as important as the protagonist. But him being a weak villain here works. Ant-Man. I want to put this movie higher, but everything else is just too peak. Ant-Man is such a fun movie. All three of them, actually. Especially the first. It feels so grounded and lighthearted. Scott, Cassie, Hope, Hank are all awesome characters. They feel so real and I love them. Yellow Jacket was a solid villain as well. The whole Pym particles and shrinking stuff is excellent. Super fun to watch on screen. Iron Man 3. 3 is a movie I will forever defend. It's actually so good and no one will ever understand it. I love this movie. It has a solid villain, deals with Tony's PTSD very well. Plus, Tony is charming as always. His and Pepper's love will always be welcome on screen. This movie excels at a lot. I understand why people have an issue with Trevor being the Mandarin, but the real Mandarin comes to be eventually. So, it really shouldn't be an issue anymore. The Avengers. This was the beginning of what was to come. The first movie to really build up to a team-up movie. What makes this movie special is not only every Avenger gets to shine, but the characters also had their own standalone projects they were in, or they were in other films. They didn't feel like strangers. Fury was great. Loki as a villain is terrific. Fun fact, this is actually my first MCU movie I've ever seen. I of course have gone back to watch everything else. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. From the moment I seen the trailer, I was sold. I was so excited for this movie. And it delivered. One of the best from Phase 4, and it for sure has the best villain of all Phase 4, maybe even 5. Wenwu is immaculate. I love all the characters from Shang-Chi, to Kate, to Wenwu, to the god himself, Trevor. Big W. Doctor Strange. This movie was literally a top 10 at one point. I love the visuals, the story, the characters. I love this movie all around. It was awesome. It was an awesome origin story in the MCU. One of the best if I say so myself. Doctor Strange has become one of my favorites in the MCU from this point forward. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever had everyone worried on how they would handle T'Challa's character with the passing of Chadwick. Honestly, they did the best job they could. It delivered. Not only that, the movie was incredible. One of my favorites from Phase 4. I am completely sold on Shuri as Black Panther. Namor was a pretty great villain. Riri's introduction was also awesome. Loved that. Moon Knight. Moon Knight was one of the most fun I had watching a show in the MCU. I absolutely fell in love with the character of Moon Knight. Mark and Steven are both amazing. The Jake reveal at the end was peak. I loved everything about the show from the start to finish. The only thing I was mad about was Layla. I'm sure she could win me over eventually though. I'm not sure why season 2 hasn't been greenlit yet, but I'm gonna start throwing hands if they don't bring him back. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. I remember being excited for this, while some of my friends were lost interest because of the animation style. Then it turned out peak. I really into the show. I'm excited for season 2. It was dope to see Norman Osborn with Spider-Man in media again, and also working together. Amazing side characters, by the way, all of them. Thor. One of, if not the most underrated movie, has to go to the first Thor movie. This film is beautiful and heavily overlooked. Loki is an amazing villain. Thor is awesome. Jane, Eric, and Darcy are all great. Asgard just feels special. It's nice to be away from New York like the rest of the MCU, both Asgard and New Mexico. This movie is just looked down upon for no reason. It needs to stop. Thor Ragnarok. Arguably the best Thor movie. Everyone will tell you it is. This movie does comedy right. Unlike Love and Thunder, it does know when to take itself serious. I absolutely love Thor and Loki's relationship in this movie. Bruce is a cool addition. Valkyrie is awesome. Hela is cool. And the best character of them all, Scourge. What a god. Thunderbolts. The satisfaction I had walking out this movie cannot be explained. I love the dynamic that the whole group had with each other. As a huge Bucky stan, it was awesome to see him back. Yelena was incredible as always, and so were the rest of the group. Especially John Walker. Val and Bob are pretty good too. That one Yelena and Alexi scene though, it broke my heart. Deadpool and Wolverine. This was like a send-off to Fox X-Men fans. This movie is as fan service as No Way Home. And while the story may not be the strongest of them, everything else works pretty well. Normally the story matters most for me, but I think it's actually pretty solid. Everything else just elevates it. Deadpool and Wolverine on screen was everything we could have possibly wanted. Hawkeye. He's probably the most fun I had watching of all the MCU. This, or something like Far From Home. Clint and Kate's dynamic in the show is awesome. My heart and soul hurt seeing Clint, mourning Natasha still. It was truly a delight seeing Fisk again though. The show had great side characters as well, like Jack, Eleanor, and even Echo. And it's Christmas, like yes please. Fantastic Four, First Steps. This may be recency bias, but I really enjoyed this project. It felt different, but also like an MCU film. I was very skeptical of this movie's casting and worried about other things, but man did they nail it. Galactus was awesome, Silver Surfer was great, and these four felt like a family. The only person I'm not 100% sold on is Pedro as Reed Richard, but the other three I'm completely sold on. Johnny was for sure the standout. Sue was amazing, Ben was great, Reed was good as well. Like, this movie does it all right. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. This is a movie I feel like people are split on, It's a movie that I was beyond satisfied with walking out the theater, and after multiple watches, I'm just as satisfied as I previously was. Wanda is a terrific villain. Strange is always fun to watch. America Chavez was definitely a highlight in the movie. One of my favorite new characters, for sure. And Wong is in this, so Wong is always a win. Captain America's Civil War. This movie is something special. I'll never forget the internet exploding over Spider-Man showing up in the trailer too. I love the conflict in this movie. I love how split and divided the characters and even the real world were on the Sokovia Accords. Also, Zemo was an incredible villain. Bro broke up the Avengers without laying a single finger on them. Almost went the whole movie without interacting with them too. All because he was just great at manipulating and framing people. Avengers Age of Ultron. Here comes another overhated event. Here comes the most overhated Avengers movie. Also one of the most important ones. Introduced Wanda, Pietro, Vision, the Stones were like important in the movie. There's conflict between the Avengers, which led to Civil War. And I liked that this movie did everything the first Avengers film did, but better. Also, this is like the only movie where all 6 of them are working as a team for like the whole movie, besides a little conflict. And I just love that. Peak MCU, I don't care. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This perfected the Guardians films. The thing the other 2 Guardians lacked were a good villain. In this film, bro is purely evil. And we don't get a lot of those. Usually it's like a tragic backstory, but not in this movie. And Rocket being the heart and soul of the movie made it even better. I cried at least 3 times during this movie. Only Endgame has done that to me. Loki. Loki's actually insane. Just being a version of Loki that escaped the events of Avengers was pretty great. I adore Loki's arc, character development. Sylvie is an awesome character as well. Love her. Season 2 was just even better than Season 1. Oh my god, Season 2 is peak television. Iron Man, the one that started it all. The stakes feel so small compared to what we've come. But that's what I love about it. RDJ was made to play Tony Stark. The performances in this movie are amazing. Iron Man movies are just so fun to watch. Spider-Man Far From Home has somehow become underrated. Everyone loved it at first, and now they hate on it. Like, why? I have zero clue. The movie is easily the most rewatchable of all Spider-Man movies. Great villain, great suits, great story, and everything. My only issue would be that the MJ love storyline came off as a bit forced, but No Way Home sold me on the romance between the 2 of them. Also, I don't count the post-credit scenes as part of a movie, but Far From Home had the best one, I don't care. WandaVision. Nothing will, and I mean nothing, will come close to top the weekly episode release hype for this show. All the hype, theories, and excitement we all had at the beginning and end of every episode is unmatched. Loved everything about it. From start to finish, amazing characters, story, and really only one letdown, and that's Ralph's reveal. But that doesn't take away from the show. Love seeing Wanda, Vision, Billy, and Tommy as a family as well, even if they weren't real. Spider-Man No Way Home. This movie is every diehard Spider-Man's wettest dreams, and I'm all here for it. The hype surrounding this movie was insane. I love this film so much. While this movie heavily relies on fan service, it's also an amazing film all around. Like the story and writing and villain, like it's peak. That's all I gotta say, peak. Daredevil Born Again. Some of you may be shocked by this placement. I just love Daredevil so much. I got so much enjoyment watching this show. It does things to me. For me personally, it's on par with the Netflix series of Daredevil. I cannot wait for season 2. I could literally talk about the show for hours on end. Avengers Infinity War. Infinity War is my favorite Avengers film. It does everything right. They managed to fit all these characters into a movie and it does not feel cluttered or rushed or anything. Infinity War was a perfect movie and I will never forget my reaction to seeing Thanos actually win. But number 1, I'm gonna give it to Avengers Endgame. Endgame is the perfect send-off film. The film does everything right. Quite literally the peak of the MCU. I cannot wait to see if Doomsday and or Secret Wars will be able to reach this level of peak and hype. I'm sure it can, but Endgame just everything right. You know, with the smaller cast in Infinity War, it really gave us more time with characters like Nebula. Like, oh my, I've always liked Nebula, but I fell in love with Nebula's character in this movie. The little things like her finally getting a win, playing the little football game with Tony, like it's just like that, man. This movie is beautiful. It is perfect. But that is my list. thank you so much for staying all the way through. I already know a lot of you, or maybe all of you, will hate this ranking, but this is just my list, not the right list. There is no right list. We all have our opinions. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.